Hello friends, in today's artificial intelligence class, we are going to see some 2 mark questions and answers from the second unit logical reasoning. The first question is, what is meant by knowledge representation? The knowledge representation is nothing but KR, or otherwise they may ask what is meant by knowledge representation and reasoning. This is otherwise called as KRR. And this knowledge representation is concerned with agents thinking. So the agent should think itself to do a corresponding action to be performed on the environment, then the agent become an intelligent agent. When it become an intelligent agent, the agent should have the thinking capability of thinking. Okay, and it is responsible for representing information. This information is otherwise called as knowledge or fact. The knowledge about the real world means on which the agent is going to work. The agent environment is called as the real world. Okay, an agent can understand and utilize its knowledge to solve complex problems, to solve complex real world problems. Okay, so this is called as knowledge representation. How we are going to represent the knowledge is important here, and that knowledge is used to make the agent thinking. In the knowledge representation, we should know what to represent. What are the things to be represented in the knowledge? First one is objects. Objects means all facts about the object in our real world domain. What are the things are available in the domain are called as objects. And second one is event. Events are the actions. Events are nothing but actions. The actions to be performed by the agent in the environment. Agent environment, or otherwise called as world. And third one is performance. It is describe behavior of particular agent which involves knowledge about how to do things. How we are going to execute an action in the environment will be described in the performance. And next one is meta knowledge. It is a knowledge about what we know. That is knowledge about the knowledge. And the next one is facts. Facts are the truth. Facts are nothing but truth about the real world. The real world is nothing but the environment and what we represent, that is called as facts. And the most important one is knowledge base. Knowledge base is a group of sentences which are given to the knowledge to understand the environment, that is called as knowledge base. Knowledge base is nothing but a database which contains the information about the environment. So what are the things to be represented here? First one is the object, event, performance, meta knowledge, fact and knowledge base. The next important things we should know, what are the different types of knowledge. And first one is declarative knowledge. It includes concepts, facts, objects and expressed in the declarative sentences. So what are the things we are going to declare in our agent function are called as declarative knowledge. And second one is structural knowledge. It is a basic problem solving knowledge. That describes the relationship between concepts and objects. That is called as structural knowledge. And next one is procedural knowledge, and it is responsible for knowing how to do something and includes rules, strategies, procedures and etc. And next one is meta knowledge. Meta knowledge is the knowledge about other type of knowledges. Knowledge about other type of knowledges. Knowledge about knowledge is called as meta knowledge. And the last one is heuristic knowledge, and this represent some expert knowledge in the field or the subject. Expert knowledge is nothing but the heuristic knowledge. So, the different types of knowledges are declarative knowledge, structural knowledge, procedural knowledge, meta knowledge and heuristic knowledge. And this is simply a 2-mark question. 2-mark question, you have to write only the important keywords, no need to write all those things. But if it is 5-mark question, you have to write all those things. The next one is, what are the important rules of semantic sets? Each model specifies true or false for each proposition symbols. Here we are having 3 symbols, P of 1, 2, P of 2, 2, P of 3, 1. For each symbol we are having corresponding truth value. The P of 1, 2 is false, P of 2, 2 is true, P of 3, 1 is false. Okay. So, for each proposition symbol we are having either true value or false value. So, the rules for evaluating truth with respect to a model M, we are having different rules we are having. First one is negation rule. If not S means sentence, S is nothing but a sentence. Not S is true. If not S is true, if and only if S is false. If and only if S is false. And the next one is, this is nothing but the not symbol. This is nothing but not symbol, and this is conjunction symbol. It is otherwise called as and, logical and. So, S1 sentence S1 is true and S2 is true, then S1 and S2 is true. If and only if S1 is true and S2 is true, then only this particular S1 and S2 is true. If and only if, that means by conditional operator, if both sides are true, then it is called as if and only if. And next one is S1 disjunctive S2 is true. Disjunctive symbol is otherwise called as logical or symbol. If and only if S1 is true or S2 is true. Or means if any one is true, then this particular sentence will be true. And the next one is S1 implies S2. S1 implies S2 is true if and only if S1 is false or S2 is true. Okay. This symbol is implies symbol. That is, if S1 implies S2 is false, if and only if S1 is true and S2 is true. Just see this difference here. If it is S1 implies S2 is true, then S1 is false or S2 is true. Otherwise, if S1 implies S2 is false, if and only if S1 is true and S2 is false. And this is if biconditional operator, that is if and only if. If S1, if and only if S2 is true, if and only if S1 implies S2 is true and S2 implies S1 is true. So, this is called as biconditional. biconditional operator. For example, we are having three different sentences. Okay, what is this? P of this one, P of 1 comma 2, P of 1 comma 2 is false, and not P of 1 comma 2 is true. Okay, and this is and symbol, conjunction symbol. P of 2 comma 2, what is the P of 2 comma 2 value? This is true. Okay, already we are having here P of 2 comma 2, and or P of 3 comma 1, what is the value of P of 3 comma 1? P of 3 comma 1 is false. Okay, so or false value, so true and true or false. So what is the value? True or false? The value is true. So true and true is, the result is true. Okay, so these are the important rules of semantic sets. What are the important rules here? Negation, conjunction, disjunction, implies and biconditional. These are the important rules of semantic sentences. The next question is, name two standard quantifiers. Standard quantifiers. We are having two standard quantifiers. First one is universal quantifier. The symbol is for all. And next one is existential quantifier. The symbol is there exist. E means there exist. This means for all. Okay. First, let us see what is universal quantification. So this is nothing but for all. For all, a variable followed by a sentence. This is the syntax for universal quantification. So the universal quantification means the complex association among huge amount of objects. Huge amount of objects. Objects means the whole population of particular environment. And let us see one example here. Everyone at India is smart. The example is everyone in India is smart. That means India is an environment. Here more number of people will be there, and if people may be outside the India also, this is India. If anything in India means this is smart. If it is outside means it is not smart simply. Okay, so how do you represent this one? Everyone in India. Everyone means all the people in India. Okay, all the people in India. It may be anything. Everyone in India at India is smart. Is smart. So now how we are using for all in this sentence? For all x. Here x is nothing but the people. X is nothing but people. If all the people at India means, then the people will be smart people. Okay. So see this particular sentence, for all x followed by p. P means propositional logic sentences. Okay, is true in model M if and only if p is true with x being each possible object in the model. X is an object that should be available in the propositional logic sentences, and roughly speaking equivalent to conjunction of instantiations of P. King John at India. So now we are speaking about a particular person who is in India. Then the King John will a smart son, smart king. King John is a smart. And next one is Jack at India. Jack at India implies smart Jack because Jack is in India. And India at India. India at India, then smart India. Okay, so this is universal quantification. Universal quantification speaks about all the objects in a particular environment. Here India is our environment or agent world. Now we are speaking about all the possible persons who are living in India are smart. The next one is existential quantification. The symbol is there exist. It is called as there exist, and the syntax is there exist followed by variable followed by a sentence, and someone at India is smart. Now our example is not all the persons in India are smart, but some people in India are smart. So this is India, and only some people in India are smart. Okay, and so many people may be there in India, but only some people in India are smart. How do we write this? There exist x at of x comma India. Then the x is smart. So there exists x comma p is true in the model M if and only if p is true with x being some possible object in the model. Not all the objects, only some possible object in the model. We are speaking about only few persons in the entire population. Roughly speaking, equivalent to disjunction of the instantiation of P. At King John, India and smart King John. So this is conjunction symbol. Okay, if the king is living in India, then the king will become smart India. Or at Jack, India, that is Jack is in India and Jack is smart one, smart person. Or at India, India, then smart India. So this is existential quantification. In the existential quantification, we are speaking about only few objects in the entire population, not all the objects. The symbol is this one, there exist. The next question is define first order logic. First order logic models the world in terms of objects. Objects means the real world entity is called as objects, that is individual identities. And next one is properties of objects. Properties of objects means by using the property only we can distinguish the object from other object. That is the identification of objects are nothing but the properties of objects. And next one is relations of objects. Relations of objects that hold among set of objects. Relation will hold the set of objects, how the objects are related to each other. And next one is functions, which are subset of relations where there is only one value for a given input. And let us see example for all these things. Objects, examples are student, lecturers, companies, cars, etc. So these are all objects in that particular world. And next one is relations. Relation means brother of X is brother of Y, and A is greater than B, that is bigger than, outside, part of, has color, occurs after, owns, visit, proceeds, and etc. These are all relations, how the object is related to another object in the world. And next one is properties. Properties are used to identify the particular object. that means blue, oval, even, large. So these things are nothing but the properties. Properties are used to identify a particular object in the environment. And next one is functions. Functions are father of, x is father of y, x and y are objects. And best friend, a is best friend of b. And second half, one more than. So these are all functions of particular objects in the environment. So first order logic, here objects, properties of objects, relations and functions are very important to represent that first order logic. The next question is, what is meant by proof by refutation? So this will come under the topic resolution. Refutation means proof by contradiction using resolution. So refutation is resolution that can always be used to either confirm or refute a sentence. Confirm means accept a sentence, or refute means reject a sentence. So here we cannot use to enumerate true sentences, because in the resolution we have to enumerate only the false sentences. So what is meant by proof by refutation? Refutation means proof by contradiction using resolution. Contradiction means we have to use only the negation of particular sentence. The next question is, what do you mean by forward chaining algorithm? This is one of the important concept in this second unit. The forward chaining is known as forward deduction or forward reasoning method when using an inference engine. And forward chaining is a form of reasoning which starts with atomic sentences in the knowledge base and applies inference rules, that is modus ponens, in forward direction to extract more data until a goal is reached. And it is a bottom up approach, that means it moves from bottom to top. It is a process of making conclusion based on facts or data by starting from initial state and reach the goal state. And the forward chaining means the forward chaining algorithm starts from known facts. Known facts are available in the knowledge base and triggers the entire rules whose premises are satisfied, adding their conclusions to the known facts. And this process repeats until the query is answered. Or no new facts which are called. So this is called as forward chaining. Forward chaining means the starts from known facts and it triggers the entire rules in the knowledge base whose premises are satisfied and adding their conclusions to the known facts. And these three processes will be repeated until the query is answered or no new facts are called. This is called as forward chaining. The another important one is backward chaining algorithm. Define backward chaining algorithm. Backward chaining is also known as backward deduction or backward reasoning method. It is used in inference engine. And this algorithm is a form of reasoning which starts with goal and works backward. Okay, so it is starting from the backward direction and chaining through rules to find known facts that supports the goal. It is otherwise called as top-down approach. The backward chaining is based on modus ponens inference rule and the goal is broken into sub-goals. Actually, the main goal is broken into sub-goals or sub-goals to prove the facts true. This is called as backward chaining algorithm. It is also called as goal-driven approach because it starts from the goal. As a list of goals decides which rules are selected to be and which rules are used next. This is called as backward chaining algorithm. The next question is define syntax and semantics. What is meant by syntax? Syntax is the arrangement of words in a particular language. In a language, how do we arrange the words in a sentence? And syntax of a knowledge describes the possible configuration that can be constitute the sentences. And syntax of the language describes how to make sentence. Syntax defines how to make sentences. And next one is semantics. Semantics of the language defines the truth of each sentence. The truth of each sentence with respect to each possible world. With this semantics, when a particular configuration exists within an agent, the agent believes the corresponding sentences. So, semantics defines the truth of sentence. Syntax defines the rule of sentence or how to make the sentences. The next one is inference rules. That is definition of inference rule. It is a standard pattern of inference that can be applied to derive a chain of conclusions. To derive a chain of conclusions that lead to desired goal. That lead to desired goal, and it is called as inference rules. And it is simply called as generating the conclusions from evidence and facts. Generating conclusions from evidence and facts is termed as inferences. And here we are having more number of rules, and the best known rule is modus ponens. The rule is alpha implies beta comma alpha divided by beta. Okay, this is the rule of modus ponens. And some other rules are also there in inference. The first one is implication. Implication represented as P implies Q. P implies Q. It is a Boolean expression. And next one is converse. Converse means the right hand side goes to left hand side and vice versa. That is, the P will come to the right hand side and Q will come to the left hand side. This is called as converse. And the next one is contrapositive. Contrapositive means the negation of converse. The negation of converse. Q implies P is Q implies P is converse, and contrapositive is not Q implies not P. And the last one is inverse. Inverse is negation of implication. Negation of implication. Which is implication? P implies Q, but inverse is not P implies not Q. Not P implies not Q is called as inverse. So, generally gathering the conclusion from evidence and facts is termed as inference. And some of inference rules are: first one is modus ponens, implication, contrapositive and inverse. Okay, this is called as inference rules. And this is what are the steps in knowledge engineering process. Knowledge engineering is KE. Here we are having 7 important steps. First one is identify the task. Identify the task, what we are going to do. And second one is assemble the relevant knowledge. Assemble the relevant knowledge, and that should be stored in knowledge base. And third one is decide on a vocabulary of predicates, functions and constant. Okay, we should identify which are the predicates, which are the functions and which are the constants in our environment. And next one is encode general knowledge about the domain. Okay, so here we have to gather some additional information about our domain. And the fifth one is encode a description of specific problem instance. Description of specific problem instance. And the sixth one is pose queries to the inference procedure and get the answers. Pose queries to the inference procedure, that is we have to pose all possible queries to our procedure and we need to collect the answers, and finally debug the knowledge base. So, based on the answers we need to debug the knowledge base whether it is working correctly or not. So, these are the 7 important steps in knowledge engineering process. What are they? First one is identify the task, second one is assemble the relevant knowledge, third one is decide on a vocabulary of predicates, functions and constants, and fourth one is encode general knowledge about the domain, and fifth one is encode a description of specific problem instance, and sixth one is pose queries to the inference procedure and get the relevant answers, and seventh one is debug the knowledge base. And define unification. Unification is a key component of all first order inference algorithm, and the unify algorithm takes 2 sentences. It can take 2 sentences and return a unifier for them if one exists. So, unification of P comma Q. P is a sentence and Q is a sentence, and it will return X. X is a unifier, and where subset of X comma P is equal to subset of X comma Q. Subset of X comma P is equal to subset of X comma Q, and this is the syntax for unification. What is the syntax here? Unify P comma Q is equal to X, where subset of X comma P is equal to subset of X comma Q. Here P and Q are different sentences, and example, unify X knows John comma X. Unify knows of John comma X. This is one sentence P, and knows of John comma Jack. This is another sentence Q, and in these 2 sentences unifier is this one. Okay, what is the unifier here? X is Jack. X is Jack. So, after unification we can replace all X into Jack. All X into Jack. So, we can rewrite this particular sentence into knows of John comma Jack. This is called as unification. Okay. Sometimes they may ask what is the purpose of unification, and the purpose is finding the substitution for inference rules. The unification purpose is we have to find the substitution for inference rules which can make different logical expressions to look identical, and it helps to match the logical expressions. Therefore, it is used in many algorithms in first order logic. So, we have already seen unify P comma Q is equal to X. Here P and Q are different logical sentences, but they seem identical, and where subset of X comma P is equal to subset of X comma Q, and after applying this unification, that is unify of knows of X comma John, that is John knows X comma John knows Jack. These 2 sentences seems similar or identical, but only these 2 variables are different. So, we can unify X comma Jack, that is we can replace X with this Jack. So, after unification we will get the sentence knows John comma Jack. We will replace X with this jack. The another one is define column constant. It means in an existential sentences, that is there exist sentence, says that there is some object satisfying a condition. So there exist means only some object will satisfy that condition, and the instantiation process is just giving the name of that object. So some objects will satisfy the condition, we need to name that object. Name that object. The name is called as column constant. Okay, because the name must not belong to another object. We have to give unique name to that object. This new unique name is called as column constant. In this video, I gave only very few important questions from second unit, and so many other questions are also there. You can give those questions in the comment box, and please go through the textbook for getting more marks in the university examinations. And thank you all of you.